I'm really glad to see all of you today. And if you're glad to see my bearded face, make sure you just remember to hit that thumbs up button, because YouTube reasons, but I do appreciate it. We've got some pretty spicy information today. We may be facing a triple upload, depending on how things go. There's always so much to cover on Monday. So if you don't get notifications of all the uploads, at least make sure to check back later this evening or on Tuesday, because you probably missed one or two videos that I uploaded today. Now, if you've been following the channel, you know I've been following a situation. Currently, as far as I can see, the only one reporting on anti-male practices at Ubisoft, specifically in Canada, but I think it's a safe assumption that this is a company-wide prerogative. And more leaks keep coming up. Now, I've got a couple of internal emails, but also the actual HR slide backing up everything I've said. Now, I've gotten several emails from other developers in the industry who, for some reason, remain anonymous outside of the people who are going out of their way to prove their identity to me before I report. Now, a lot of times people send me things and I don't report on them. But for the Ubisoft case, I have been trying to cover it because it doesn't seem like anyone else is. And when somebody sends me something, I normally just don't read the email unless I'm reasonably convinced that this is an insider. Oftentimes I ask for evidence, pictures, proof, employee badges, things like that, a way to prove that you work there. So you watching these videos, the viewers, can know that I'm at least doing a reasonable amount of due diligence before just taking somebody's word for it. Do I make mistakes? Probably, but I think what we've got today is pretty spicy. Now, I'm going to start with the just an anecdote that I think is interesting because it's coming from a female at Ubisoft. If you followed last week, we had several employees reach out saying that they have these re-education camps. They have crazy training for this absurd thing they call unconscious bias. They have diversity quotas, all of the things that are disgusting, things that are not meritocracy, things that are sexist. If you have a certain percentage of men or women as a goal to work for your company, that is sexist. One's skills really don't matter. Unless outside of maybe an obscure position like a locker room attendant, I can't think of a position, especially at a game development company, that would require a vagine or a PP. So let's take a look at this email. I didn't block out full names because they aren't really villains in this case. They are not people that are important necessarily. But it's an interesting tale to tell. So, hello. I can't give you my position, but my story will give away my gender identity. I overheard a conversation in the ladies' bathroom that the HD manager, I don't know what that is, Charisse, and the reason I leave that in is to provide you, the viewer, evidence that I was able to research these names and they are real people, had with her cell phone. Presumably, she had no idea that I was in one of the stalls. She was freaking out that human resources manager Ivy, we'll say, was investigating one of the team leads and was going to fire him for non-attendance because he was working from home. She was worried not for her team lead, but for herself, since she skipped out on work to go to a lot of cons and to cosplay. In fact, she said that she let all of her team leads work from home because she, quote, worked from home all the time. She made this weird laugh when she said that, like it wasn't actually working from home. And let me tell you this, okay? I work in an office environment. I go to clients, and I've worked in corporate America for a very long time. This is true. We even, in my department, in the e-commerce department at my last day job, we would always say, work from home. This is a common practice. It's not a negative thing. It really isn't, because in a lot of e-commerce world jobs or newer workplaces, I can say, like I had unlimited vacation as a director, okay? Unlimited vacation. It's something that they tell you before you start working there and you think is amazing. But then once you start working there, you realize you can never actually take off because there's always something to do. Now, we would often, in my department, use work from home to get shit done. There's nothing wrong with that. It was just what it was. It wasn't like, you might say, I'm going to work from home because you got to go to the DMV and then you take the rest of the day off. Whatever. I don't judge these people for doing it. I did it all the time, and my entire department did it because you just didn't take vacation at these jobs. It was frowned upon. Long story short, one of the most well-respected team leads, not someone I worked for, but several of my friends worked for him, was fired shortly after I heard this communication. And I believe there may have been an anti-male bias involved on his good reputation in contrast to the well-known poor work ethic of the person who didn't get fired and the widely known anti-male hostility of the HR manager. I've attached a photo from the HD manager's Facebook so you know I'm legitimate. One of my coworkers sent it to me so we could have a laugh. I don't know where he got it from. I mean, she's looking good. That's what I can say. But I feel like this email is we can reasonably assume that this is an internal. Now we have a female speaking out and unprompted refers to the HR manager as anti-male. Now, the cream of the crop, the cherry on top. I have the actual slide from the HR presentation leaked to me by an employee. A lot of people said, geez, no company would ever go out there and publicly say that they're going to aim for a percentage of certain employees, would they? They wouldn't talk about unconscious bias and things like that. You don't have any proof of it. Well, here's the slide. A Road to Success 2025, the studio. Moving our HR practices forward. Our games now cater to a greater diversity of people. It's true for our games. It's true for us. Studies show, no studies linked, that a more diverse and inclusive production force has a direct impact on the output of a company and its capacity to innovate. Now, it doesn't say it's positive or negative. It just says that it affects it. Target, 30% of women in Canadian studios by 2025, doubling their number. Now, how do you double that number exactly? Again, we talked about in my last video that no two applicants are ever created equal. It doesn't happen. It's possible if you're working at McDonald's, maybe, or ultra low skill, just manual labor, okay, maybe. But we're talking about developers, we're talking about white collar work. You aren't choosing between two exact same people and then hiring the woman. You are discriminating actively against men. I don't know what you think out there, but I don't think I want to support a company that has these hiring practices. And there's more. As of September, training will start on inclusive leadership and unconscious bias. Strongly recommended for everyone and especially managers. Now, this slide completely backs up what my insiders have told me about Ubisoft and its disgusting hiring practices. And the thing is, I want to say this. No disrespect to the employees at Ubisoft. And my guess is 95% of their work days are fine and completely unaffected by this sort of thing. But what we're seeing here is public and active discrimination against men, as well as proof that they're putting their managers, and again, somebody attacked me and said, you can't just assume because it's implied that they take it. I mean, look at the language. You ask me. Strongly recommended for everyone and especially managers. Does that sound optional to you or does it sound optional? That's what it sounds like to me. I'm just one beard on the internet reporting on the tips and news as I get it. I hope you enjoyed this video and fuck off, Ubisoft.